Hi, neighbors. Welcome to DBH 411 Community Conversations. I'm your host, Rachel LaPointe, and today we have a very special guest, Zouher Abdel-Hak. Zouher is here to talk with us about a hot topic in our community, the Warren Valley Golf Course and Banquet Hall, and the need for transparency in the city of Dearborn Heights. For those of you who don't know, the Warren Valley Golf Course is a beloved institution in our city, but there have been some recent controversies surrounding its management and funding. That's why we're so grateful to have Zouher with us today. He's done a lot of research on this issue and has some really insightful perspectives to share with us. Before we begin, we want to remind everyone that the opinions expressed on this interview are those of the individual speaking and do not necessarily reflect the views of DBH 411 Community Conversations, the host Rachel LaPointe, or any affiliated parties. We also wanted to let you all know that we did extend an invitation to Mayor Bazzi to sit down with us for an interview on this topic, but as of now, we have not heard back from his office. Nonetheless, we're grateful to have Zouher with us to share his thoughts and expertise. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn more about the Warren Valley Golf Course and Banquet Hall and the importance of transparency in our community. Let's dive into this conversation with Zouher Abdel-Hak. Zouher Abdel-Hak, welcome to DBH 411's Facebook page, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for the invitation. It is my pleasure to address you and address the residents of the city of Dearborn Heights.
And I know they're very excited to hear from you. I know there's been a lot of buzz about your appearance on other stations and different talk shows, and other people have been talking about different things all over town. And I think it's going to be a really good chance for us to have a little conversation and get the residents the information they need to know.
I apologize that I went on some mostly Arabic stations and the conversation was in Arabic and in English, and some residents didn't understand what we were saying.
And that's
So that's why I am here. I want to explain to them in in plain English so they can understand what's going on. And if anybody really have questions, they can call me. They can stop by my shop.
Yes.
And they are welcome to see the documents. And if they want copies, I'll be
And I'll
happy
be
to give.
posting those as well on the Facebook page, and then hopefully we'll be able to get a website set up with some of those in there too, so that people have access to them. I think that's really helpful for people to understand what's happening in the city right now.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's been going on with the? Do you want to start with golf course?
Let me
Or where do you
first
want to
tell.
start?
Let me first tell the residents who am I.
Oh, good point.
Okay.
There we go. Yes. Start with that.
I am U.S. citizen, resident of Dearborn Heights for 32 years, electrical engineer 1981 from Wayne State University, and diploma in business management from the American University in Cairo, Egypt 1991.
All right.
And I served on the city council during the late Mayor Paletko, God rest his soul. I served on the housing commission and I served on the zoning board of appeal. And I was appointed treasurer, interim treasurer to the city of Dearborn Heights from July 2019, I believe, to, to, to November
Of 2020.
2020.
Yes.
2020.
That big one.
2020, yes, because Lisa Hexaplate and then I was appointed next January to the city council on the 26th of January, and I served for 11 months until 12/31st, 2020. And I put forward many resolutions.
You did. I remember that.
Many motions, and I've been attending the city council for the last 20 years. So if anybody knows the city in and out, it will be probably myself.
Yep. There's
And
not a lot of people who go to all those meetings.
I love the city. I raised my kids in the city, and my kids went to Crestwood High School, graduated from Crestwood High School. and I participated for the people who don't know, and I chaired the committee who passed $35 million for the school after 49 years of being not able to pass it. It was very narrow, and I had great people who helped me. I give them credit too. I can't name all of them now, but I did work with the school board. I brought the halal food to the school with the help of other people too, and I give them credit for it, not just me. And we did lots of changes to the curriculum. Then I am very happy to be with you to answer any question you have. Well, let's start with the golf course. The golf course. How did we get to where we are? Okay, the golf course is a long story. The county claimed that they lost $800,000 a year for the golf course. It was owned by the county. An investor came and asked me to help him get a couple council members to basically approve his purchase of the golf course and to put homes on it. I didn't know much about it. I was very naive at the time, and I didn't know it was, floodplain. But I asked him if he would give a parking space for Riverside School because they have a problem. He said, I will, and I will put asphalt, and I'll be very happy to give him enough space to basically resolve that problem. That's why I supported him, and I got two of my friends on the city council to give him letters to basically it's okay to purchase it. And he secured two letters from two more members until we found out, and God rest her soul, Marge Horvath and other people who live around the golf course basically came 300-400 people to the banquet at the golf course, and they raised hell about it. And that's why Mr. Palatko, God rest his soul again, he got so scared because behind the closed doors he was approving the sale. And if we would talk money wise, the investor, if he would have took it and put homes, he would have made between 50 to $100 million a profit. So the public need to know what was at stake. And again, I apologize because I didn't know enough information and I supported that. But after we found out, I asked, my friends on the council, they withdrew their support, and the city bought it from the county for $1.8 million on gentleman agreement that it will stay golf course in a banquet. It will never be sold for residential homes or commercial, or anything else. Keep it as golf course and as event. So you said that the developer was ready to make up to $100 million. What would the city have made in tax dollars from the home? The city would have made probably between $1.5 to $3 million in taxes per year. Per year, okay. Yes. But the idea is how many homes going to be flooding around the, right. And how many. Is that worth it? No, it wasn't worth it, and that's why I start learning about golf course. I read about the golf course, the history of the golf course. So I wouldn't make the same mistake, which, at one point I admit I was naive enough to make. Yeah. Well, that makes sense that then you did your homework. I did my homework. I read about it. I read the history. I read the contracts with the county, with Oneida, and I read every piece of paper comes out of the city about the golf course, just to see if there is anything which is not kosher. Right. So then in the years in between, there was a concessionaire there. Yes. Since we bought the golf course. Oneida was the concessionaire. He had 5 years contract from the county when we bought it. He had, I believe, 1 or 2 years left. Okay. So in 2019, or no, in 2020, basically, I have all the document here. You have to forgive me, I get a little nervous sometimes. But the mayor came and wanted to renew what we call status quo contract for Oneida Golf Management. So everything would have stayed the same, which they because of COVID, wanted just to keep somebody working there, somebody doing something, because they shut it down for the period of COVID. And Oneida agreed, basically, I believe October 14, 2020, they agreed to basically renew the contract for 1 year. But there was a stipulation in it, which Oneida should have been very careful about it, that the city can take the property anytime they want from him without any question or any reason. Okay. So I believe uh, Oneida discovered that, loophole in the contract. And early in 21, he took all the equipment out of the building and took the carts were leased. He returned them to the lessee or lessors, where he leased them from. And he took he gutted basically the building. Yeah. And I read the contract that was with the county too. I believe that it said that most of that property belonged to the county. Yes. Yeah. Except what he claims he bought personally, he took all his items and the city basically didn't do anything. They were sleeping on the wheel. Yeah. While he took everything, even after he left, he came back and opened the building and took things, and the city did not lock it up or put, security guard. You have a change of tenant, right? Usually you secure the property. And basically, Oneida paid his electric bills up to April 2020. Or 2022. 22, I'm sorry. I have it all in detail with dates and everything. But he basically he took care. He closed his account with DTE. The city did not turn on the electricity to the transfer. Yeah, they didn't do the transfer until August 4th, when Isa Brothers got awarded the contract. Okay. To basically be the next concessionaire for the banquet and the golf course. So even from August 4th until November, I believe there was no electricity or anything in the building, which caused some of the water pipes to bust due to the freeze and the low temperature. So then they discovered that there is no electricity or anyway, I believe now they do have electricity and gas. That the city hasn't necessarily been keeping a very close eye on the golf. The city, I believe the administration, to be specific, the administration didn't pay any attention to what was going on. And I believe they let it go down for several months, and basically we lost money, we lost season, and we lost opportunity to get better bidders, better concessionaires who can give better deal to the resident and to the city. Yeah. And I did ask Mr. Bazzi when we had the status quo. I was on the council in 20 and 22, and I asked him to please do not renew this contract and put it right away for bid. This way we have enough time, the winter time, to basically find concessionaires, and we have more time to work in the spring, to actually we gain one season. Yeah. He says to me, I have vision for the golf course. So I trusted, yes, I trusted when I was on the city council, yes. I trusted his word, but I voted no with Dave Abdullah and Mo Baidoun against the status quo. It passed 4-3. I was one of the three people who voted against it, and I didn't like renewing 1 year for a guy he knows he's going to leave, and I knew what was going to happen. So basically, Oneida left and they left the bucket in our hand.
Right, and we were just, then that was the whole process last year,
Then,
the bid process,
yes,
the continued discussions on
yeah,
that, right?
the status quo happened on October 14 and 21.
And
And
then,
in 22, I got off the council on
in the
December
beginning,
31st. Now, in February, Oneida left.
Mhm.
In March, Mr. Bazzi took Wissam Isa by himself with another contractor. I don't want to mention his name.
Mhm.
And the security system in the building showed
Mhm.
that he took him at 4:38 in the afternoon on Thursday, and he gave him a special tour to the whole golf course to see what's wrong in it before he bid it few days later. So they had actually 10 to 12 to 14 days had a start over every other bidder to know about the golf course, the problems, and everything else.
So usually, if there's a project the city's doing, the bid proposal would go out to everybody at the same time, right?
That's how it's supposed to go to the BidNet.
Okay.
And everybody goes either pick it up from the controller office or go to BidNet and fill out the document. And
And then there would be one visit for all of the potential bidders.
there's supposed to be one visit, but the only one who had access to it is basically Mr. Isa, uh, Wissam Isa. And again, I have nothing against Wissam Isa, and I don't think he done anything wrong. And I repeat this, it's not his fault. He's a businessman.
Right.
It's in his best interest to get the maximum benefit from the city. It is the mayor and the city council's duty to the residents to do their job,
Their
due
due
diligence,
and
so
make
they
sure, yeah.
protect the residents, they protect the money of the city,
Right.
and get the maximum from any concessionaire, whether Isa or anybody else. So on uh, on March 4th, 2022, there was a walk through, and I walked through the building. It was a miserable, situation. But at the same time, the city had answered many questions in writing, were asked by all the bidders and the people who,
We're interested.
interested in
Yeah.
it. And basically, they put list of things need to be done, and
Based on that first one.
and they put the price. So the bidders have read all these things, and
Yeah.
they understood the problems, they understood everything about the project, and they came with their bids. And the four bidders were Davy, the three expert company from Ohio, then Isa Brothers, and Mr. Ahmed Makki, the lead sport, and Baba Grills. The only one who bid on both to take both the golf course and the banquet was the Isa Brothers.
Right, and that
And
was
they-
the main reason a lot of council
They promised.
pushed that.
And here is their bid. Here is their bid. They said update all bathrooms, maintain the golf course, and update when needed. Those are their words and their
Right.
bid.
Based on what they had seen from their tour.
Update golf course water system, update exterior garage, and update exterior golf course restrooms. Plus many, many
Plus
things.
many other things,
And a
yeah.
promise, and here it is.
Right.
And by the way, we'll put it for the public to see. And they promised to spend the $3.4 million, okay, and pay the city $5,000 rent a month,
Okay.
and 10%, according to their bid, 10% of yearly concession profit to the city.
Right.
yearly concession profit, not the profit, profit. Right. And there is a difference between not the gross profit and gross net profit and not the profit. Proposal was also to get 10% of the gross profit. Concessions would be like the food, the drinks. Food, the drinks, basically, the greens, the golf yes. We're getting in besides like the banquet rental income. Yes. Okay. Yes. So those are what they promised, and which sounds terrible. No, it's not for the condition of the property. I thought that's good. Yeah. Up to here, right. It's better than what Oneida was paying. Yeah, right. Better deal than what we had. And I know Mr. Isa is a good businessman, to be honest with you. He's capable, he has the money, right. And he has many projects very successful in the city and other cities. So I was, you know, looking at it, and I looked at Mr. Mackey. He proposed to spend $2 million and take only the banquet, but he pays $6,000 a month, which means $12,000 more than Isa. And the reason he didn't, I say it to people, the reason he didn't want the golf course was because of the liquor license. He doesn't want to deal with the liquor. Yeah, so that's a lot. I admire him for that. Yeah. So those two people came in, and the other people were rejected because uh, really we Davy wants $4 million from the city for the next 5 years, but he promised to open the golf course in June 22. Oh, yeah, they would have been able. They would because they have the equipment. And Baba Grill, he just withdrew. What disturbed me more than anything that during the process before the award, Mayor Bazzi called personally Mr. Mackey and asked him to withdraw his bid. How could you put the bid out, then you ask one of the bidders to withdraw, and he is the only one left? That meant to me and to lots of people who followed all this that the mayor has one person in mind and one person, nobody else except that he wants to give him the Isa brother to win that contract. Yeah. And that was definitely illegal. Even Dave Abdullah, the president of city council, said in another interview that was nothing wrong with the mayor calling and asking one of the bidders to withdraw. I mean, I was my respect to him. He doesn't know the law. He doesn't know what's right, what's wrong. With my respect to him, he should have known that is illegal. You cannot interfere in process when it is out on the bid net. You cannot even say a word about it until they open the bids, then it is discussed. And that's to maintain fairness and process. Yes, you cannot, you can, it was clear to me that he wants to give it to one specific bidder, nobody else. And that's not the end of the story. No. Well, the story. He wanted Isa to win that. To me, from his own mouth, when he was introducing Mr. Isa at the Arab American Chamber Gala, and they were honoring Mr. Isa, I believe, Businessman of the Year. The mayor introduced him, and from his own mouth, he says, I used to leave my property. One of the Isa brothers used to be his next door neighbor, and he used to leave when he's deployed overseas as a Marine. He used to leave his property and they used to take care of it. So his relation to one of the Isa brothers goes back at least 20 some years. He should have, out of transparency, as he claims, he should have said to the city council, this is my relation with these people. He should be transparent. And he hidden this from them until he, from his own mouth, said it. And I discovered that it's not just the phone call, there is something else too. So, and the city has no ordinance or any part of the charter that would say that that's the kind of disclosure of a conflict of interest, right? He claims he is very transparent and he has open door policy. Then it was wise of him to explain this, not to find out a year later that is his, you know, his one of his buddies for the last 20 years. Right. When you're transparent. So I, as a reasonable person living in the city, to question this. Why did you not disclose it? Right. Then when I asked Dave Abdullah to talk to him and ask him why he didn't disclose it, he said, Wissam Isa wasn't my neighbor. So I said to him, the contract said Isa brothers. It doesn't matter who was the person living next to him. It's one of the It's one of the company. Yeah. So it should have been clear to me. He should have said it. But hiding this information made me, you know, raise my antenna and say there is something wrong here. Yeah. So then we've got this contract, right? I got the contract, okay? And the city council, with the award of the contract, they passed a motion that that was in March. They said in April 12th, 2022, the mayor should bring a contract with Mr. Isa to be ratified by the council. And on 12th of April, they never brought a contract. The 12th of May never brought a contract. Later on, he brought a draft. I remember that. Draft. And the draft was totally different than what Mr. Isa pledged to do. It was a whole new contract. Right. It has nothing whatsoever of what he committed to the residents to do into the city council. So he wants basically to take only the banquet. He doesn't want the golf course unless the city spend money and do this and that. And it was too much of an investment for him. Yes, he didn't want to invest that. Then, if that was the case, we would have went with Elite Sport because he pays $12,000 more a year, and and he's willing to spend $2 million immediately on the banquet, and he doesn't have a hookah, he doesn't have a cigar bar. He's just going to expand the building, the restaurant, and basically beautify the existing building. Right, because then we would have just been finding someone to handle it. And I asked the mayor publicly and the city council to rebid the contract. He refused to rebid it, and basically the council voted the draft down. On the 6th, 28th of 22, Mr. Isa comes back and he comes with a new contract negotiated with the mayor and whoever. Okay? He was there. And he's asking the city to spend up to $1.77 million on the golf course in order for him to accept taking the contract. And he told them, and I'm going to repeat, and I'm sorry if there are little kids, please close their ears. He stood at the city council in public forum and he said, you should kiss my, you know what, in order to accept taking this contract from the city. Nobody from the city council members sitting up there, and not the mayor, said a word to him, insulted the officials and insulting 64,000 residents because those people represent us. And this was the beginning of, the charade in this contract. So the city council basically voted down the contract. Right. They came back on the 26th or the 28th of July, months later. And now he's not just asking for 1.7. It's even more than he's asking. He is saying, I'm not going to spend the $3.4 million right now. I'm going to spend it over the next 20 years. Which is a very long time. Who's counting? And who's going to be alive? Who knows? That's in God's hand. We hope so. And he asked basically the city to to do lots of other things. And he reduced the 10% of profit to net profit, which means reduce the amount of money. No, in the green, in the greens too. But no, it wasn't all the concession. So Mr. Dave Abdullah said after a long discussion, they couldn't vote on it. I asked to rebid it. They basically put it for vote at the city council for rebid. And they voted the three against the three. Hassan Ahmad, he was smart enough to be overseas, so he didn't have. I love that. He wasn't there, and he didn't have to put his name into this mix. The only one who was fighting it is my dear friend Tan Winsel. And they attacked him, they trashed him, they done everything, accused them that he's accepting bribes and he's accepting money. It's shame on the mayor and the city council to allow such circus to happen against a sitting respectful council member without any proof. They didn't have any proof that he did anything wrong. But to go back to this, Dave Abdullah said, let's now go and renegotiate with Mr. Isa. Maybe we can reach something. So he went, he sat with the mayor. The council chair. The city council did not put the motion to allow him to go sit in the negotiation. So he took it up on his own, he said, but nobody objected. Okay. So he went and sat with them for 2, 3 days. And Mayatki, the city lawyer, wasn't present. Was not allowed to participate in the negotiation. Absolutely, it's the mayor. It's the mayor. He wasn't there. So basically, and I'm not going to mention a name, one person said out of that room, everything Mr. Isa asked for, he got. Then that wasn't negotiation. It was, in my opinion, a scam to package a contract and basically to take the heat off the mayor and the city council. So the mayor comes on August 1st, on top of what he's asking, he comes and asks the city council to approve $800,000 for the golf course, not to give it. Mr. Isa and his company did not receive a penny from the money which so far we spent on the golf course. So just to make it clear, he brought a subcontractor. It's called Revive Golf Management or something. I'll see the guy's name, Jason. He brought him in basically to manage the golf site and to make sure that on April 23rd, which was 2 weeks ago, that the city will open the golf course with C of O. Okay, so he asked the city to approve 800 additional thousand for specific things. For the certificate of occupancy. The city engineer brought to the city council list of what he wants to do. It came to $814,000. Now, in the contract, in the motion which I have here, it said if they exceed $800,000, then the agreement will be void as outlined in 8A per Mayor's Bessie communication dated August 1st, 2021. This was 4B on the agenda of August 4, 2022. Right, and those minutes so are available on the city they website. Exceeded, according to Mr. Deep, the city engineer, they exceeded by $14,000, which means legally, according to the motion, yeah, that it is the contract is null and void. And when did he bring that? He brought that estimate, sometime. Sometime after. Yes, I think, yeah, after they approved the plan. I have the document, I have the list in the whole detail. Basically, they approved the $800,000 and they approved the 1.77 right zero for the so total $2.570 million for the golf course. Now, the question is, which I want the resident to understand, what did we get as resident? What did we get as city in return for agreeing to spend $2.57 million from the Isa brothers or from Jason, who's managing the conference? Right. We got big zero. So far, we have brought in $0. $0. We didn't get the penny. So moving forward, they're supposed to pay $5,000 a month in rent. That's and supposed to pay 10%. 10% of the net profit, not the profit from the greens. Which is not going to be very. Which at the best, if the golf course has 100 leagues, it will be $30,000. So 5,000, that is 60,000 plus 30,000 a year. That's maybe 90,000. Maybe we're making our money. Yeah. We cover our money, which we spend according to the contract. So we 2.57. We need 25 years to recover our investment. Almost 26 which years. Means Mr. Isa's contract will be in the negative. Ended in 20 years. So anyway, still be paying for what now they claim that should we leave it to rot the golf course? No, if we done our job, if this administration would have done their due diligence and followed up, they would have had Davy come and who came down. He came down to 600,000 a year, and we would have opened in June 1st, 2020. And we would not have to spend that big amount. We would have had to spend 600,000 for the next 5 years, which is easier for us financially as a city than flipping 2.57 in less than 8 months, right, which is actually 3.2. It's not 2.5. Right, because they have added and they have not, the administration have not told the council how much money they are actually spending. They went over the 2.570. So already I don't blame the mayor only, I blame those sitting on the city council. And again, Tom Winsel is standing up to this and he's the only one that exposing all these numbers. The numbers don't lie. Yeah. From the ledger. Right. And we've got up to the day. I have that I FOIA'd all the documents. Yeah, but Rachel, you need to. I don't talk before I have the facts. Okay, I FOIA'd all the documents. They have spent close to $3.2 million, and tomorrow they have extra money. They are asking for the bathrooms. Right. And in Mr. Isa's bed right here. Originally, he was supposed to be okay. There. Yeah. Update exterior golf course restrooms. This is his bed. He is originally going to spend from the $3.4 million. We end up not getting more from him. No, we got less and we spend taxpayers' money, which is supposed to go to roads, right, to flood, to right, senior citizens, to parks, to people, to people in need, yeah, to police, fire, and employees who put their life at risk during COVID-19. in which the ARPA money, which is the rescue money from the federal, supposed to help this kind of people. Yeah. So basically, if you remember, this is what's happening with the golf course. There is hookah, there is what you call it, cigar bar. Not in the original. They were Mr. Isa, when he was asked at the city council, are you going to put the hookah? He said no. I believe Councilman Muscat has. I'm going to put cigar bar. Yeah. And when he had his interview on Cena Radio a few days ago, he did not mention the hookah at all during the interview. He only said cigar bar. By law, by state law, by county, you know, right. You're not allowed to smoke on public property. And right. This is a own property. This is a public property. It's still owned by the resident. It's not owned. He's a tenant. Right, and I look into that, like that he's a tenant, HUD housing, like the projects, right? If you're in a government-owned housing, you're not allowed to even smoke in your own residence. Exactly. Even as a tenant. So this would be kind of a comparable thing. If the city, but unfortunately, I believe the building department is under pressure to approve everything, even the inspections. Even the inspections. Without actually completing the inspections properly. The inspections I'm going to talk about. Yeah. And to me, this is a scandal. And and I'm going to the right authorities so the mayor knows and everybody. Yeah. I'm not hiding. Right. Okay. This is a scandal in our city. And it should be exposed because if we let this slide, God knows what he's going to do with the ARPA money. Which was 24 million. He claims he's allowed to use for $10 million of it for whatever he wants. He used from it, he used last year 2 millions. We voted for him. I put the motion to give him because his budget was in the negative. Right. So he asked me to release the $2 million, which was uh, for the retiree health care. Okay. And I wanted to split it, 500,000 for police fire, 500 for general employees, general government, and 1 million for the general fund. Then he asked me, please, I need it because we don't have money to make the payroll. So he took $2.2 million from the ARPA money. Already. And he took $2 million. That is $4.2 million last year to cover the losses, if you want, or the shortcoming of the in the budget. And this year, according to the treasurer of the city, we need close to $4 million to make the payroll until June 30th. Otherwise, then you'd only still have 2 million left for other unspecified maybe funds. Then he brings the company. Let's go back to the golf course a little bit. Let's go back to that one. Back to that later. With the ARPA funds. The golf course right now, they opened it. Right. They don't have COO. Did they so they would have had temporary CFO, but I don't know if they have CFO. I asked the mayor and I challenged him to put it on the city website. I did check with the clerk, and she said that she did issue a business license for Revive. Yes. So they had at least a temporary CFO that she was able to do. I don't know that that was the parking. Yes. The parking lot. Yeah. Half the parking lot, which they allocated $400,000 for it, it's a part of the CFO. Right. But they didn't do anything about it, and they don't want to do it this year because they don't want to use the money. But then the parking lot's in terrible shape. Basically, people who are coming to golf, they want to feel in a nicer place, secure place, and a clean place. Not in a scary parking lot.
middle school still uses the parking lot as well, correct? They do. So even for student safety and such, I mean, should problems that parking lot have been. We should fix it, at least patch it, put some lights, make sure it is safe, it is appealing. So the golf course right now, hopefully it's going to open 18 holes. Right. The other 18, we don't know who's responsible for them. We don't know if the city going to be responsible, to pay for them to pay for the repair, for maintenance, for what I don't know what they're going to do. If the mayor or the council know, I would appreciate one of them to come and tell us tomorrow night at city council. Tell us what you're going to do with those 18. Are you going to open 27, as Mr. Isa says? And are we getting any extra money for that? Well, the contract is so vague. It really is. And it left the city open. We have to buy insurance for the whole building, including the additions which he's going to make. We're going to buy liability insurance for the parking lot. So if somebody gets drunk inside and go outside, make an accident or something, that's on the city. It's on the city. We are liable. So there is so many things, loose ends, which the city council didn't pay attention, and which the mayor really didn't give a damn if it happens or not. As long right now, he blames the city council. He said, "I have nothing to do with it." Which reminds me of the late Paletko. God rest his soul. When he every time you say something, he says, "It's not me." Sounds like they even said when they approved the contract in August of 20, that was 21, right? Yeah, 22. 22. August 4th, 2022. Them even said that they didn't feel that it was a good contract, that it was a bad. It's not just the city council. Let me say a statement which Mr. Mayatki, the city lawyer for 26 years, when I asked him, would you sign if you are, you know, city council member or resident, would you agree to this contract? He said, Mr. Abdel-Hak, I will not accept this contract as is. I want to do some changes on it. And just for the record, I have nothing to do with the terms and conditions of this contract. Yeah. The city council didn't pay attention to what their lawyer said. That was a shame. They just went with the mayor and they just pushed it down our throat, and we are basically, I call it, scammed out of $3.2 million so far. So far. Yes. And because when we started this process, we shouldn't have had to spend any money. We didn't according to his original deal. Yeah. He changed his mind. The reasonable things to do is to go for somebody else. Right. And if check if they agree, or at least we did it. Right. But they always say we don't want to lose the leagues. We don't lose the leagues. We lost 1 year. Yeah. And I don't know what's going to happen this season. I hope it will succeed. I pray to God that it will succeed, it will work, and Mr. Isa will succeed. But again, I don't want hookah inside that building. And if you remember, Mr. Bazzi himself pushed for moratorium on hookah lounges. On hookah lounges to make it limited in the city. Right. And now he's a mayor. He's okay with one. He's okay with one more. One more. As a parent of middle schoolers right now, mine are at Riverside, but I don't know that I would be comfortable as a parent having a hookah lounge right next door to a middle school either. Somehow that just seems like it's a bad idea with the kids and all the issues there. Hopefully it will be open in the evening after the schools. Hopefully. So this is the golf course issue. And that's where we're at. And that's where we at. And tomorrow they asking more money to fix the bathroom. We already gave them 200. Costs keep increasing. We're going to be close to $400,000 to $500,000 to fix the bathrooms, which he promised to fix.
I don't know what the city council is doing.
That much. It seems that the right thing to do would have been to go out for bid again.
Mr. Isa knew all the details. He had start 10 days over everybody else, and the city gave him the terms and conditions, and he read it and he understood it, and he made a bid. Then he reneged on it. Good for him. I clapped for him. He managed basically.
He worked a smart business.
Yeah, it's not him. It's not his fault. You know.
But the fact remains
Uh,
that the city's money is not just the city's money.
No,
It's our
it's the residents' money.
taxpayer.
And this money, at the end of the day, it's coming not from the general fund as they claim, it's coming from the ARPA money, which is federal controlled money. And it's supposed to be spent for a specific item. In the general fund, yes, but not to give it away, okay,
Right.
to
To a certain
to certain person,
profiting a business.
basically.
Right. Could that put those ARPA funds at risk? Could the federal government come in and say person
To
profiting
my
off
knowledge, to my knowledge, the issue is in the FBI hands,
so they'll look into
and
it.
and I am not afraid to say it. Here is my complaint going tomorrow to the Attorney General of the state of Michigan, and I'll be happy to testify to everything I say under oath. And I'm not going to lie under oath like the mayor lied under oath when he said in a deposition that I asked him for a job. Shame on him. He disgraced the uniform he's wearing when he lies under oath. I never asked him for a job. I never wanted a job. I make double his salary in my store. You know,
Right.
people don't know that I own jewelry store and I've been in business 27 years.
Yeah.
And I am running for city council for this reason.
Right.
So they don't think I'm hiding. No, I'm running for city council. So there will be a voice for the public on city council.
That will ask these hard questions.
Go ahead.
Right? Okay, let me look at my questions and see. And I think it's important to kind of ask that about you running. Do you think like there's going to be people that are going to say that you're just trying to get on council by bringing this up? And if you weren't running for council, you would still be bringing this up, right?
I brought it long
Before you
before
were
I
running?
decided. Believe
Okay.
me, I just made my decision.
Right before you needed to.
Yes, just few days before the deadline to submit the papers.
Yeah.
And if you look at my petitions, I have more than, I believe, 15 people took sheets,
Yeah.
got
Help you
signatures.
signatures.
Yes, I didn't have, unfortunately, the time to
Because you
work
decided so late.
so late.
Yeah.
And I have a business, I have bills to pay, and I am running. If I wanted to run last time, I would have did full campaign. People remember I spent $998 on my
Right.
last campaign because really
Yeah.
I just promised Tom Wenzel that I'll put my name on the ballot, but I didn't want
Right.
to win. I was hoping that we put the city in the right hands, Mr. Bazzi.
Yeah.
That was
That's
my
how I felt at
that
that
was
time
my
too.
dream.
Yeah.
That he's a Marine, he's professional, he's an engineer. It's in the right hands. But unfortunately,
Great job with the flooding that we had in 2021. Like that was very impressive to
but
me.
again, the money which was spent, $300,000 to clean 10 blocks in the city, if you remember,
Yeah.
nobody do not put to motion.
Right.
They
We did
gave
extra
him
garbage pickup.
yeah, we should ask who's the person who benefit from it. He's the same person who brought priority, is the same person who's bringing the company to teach us what to do with ARPA money for up to $1.3 million of ARPA money.
Consultant
The
company.
consultant company. And you
So
remember,
one person brought these
yes,
companies
yes.
and said, here you can bid on these projects.
Yeah, why do I need to spend $1.3 million when I have 10 directors, heads of department?
Yeah.
They should know exactly what's wrong with the city, where the money should go. Why do I need to spend it to somebody out of state
And I think that the consultants were very nice, very professional, they did a lovely job, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't, in my opinion, necessary. We could have done the survey. We could have asked our people, we could have sent 8,000 mailers and we could have got better result than 157. Less than, Rachel, less than 200 people responded to the survey.
Yeah.
We are 63 million plus, 63,000 plus. We should have got better response. And we know exactly what we need the money for.
Yeah, we all know.
We have the what?
The water.
I'm going to talk about the bond.
Yeah.
We passed $24 million bond, 9 million for changing the water meters,
Right.
and 16 millions for the sewage, which
The
is
CSO project.
mandated, and we have to finish it by 2025. Now we need $6 more million for the CSO, and we need $2 more million for the meters. And until today, we don't have a company, real company, who we have a bid from or quote to do the job. I mean,
And we don't have enough money to do.
he's been in office 2 years and 2 years and 4 months. How long you need before you understand what needs to be done in the city?
And he was on council before.
He was on council.
Should know that.
And he had me and other people around him helping him during the last 3.5 years. We used to sit with him on daily, almost weekly, twice or three times at Tim Horton in Garden City, in my house, in Mr. Baz Hassan Baz's house. Anything he needed, any questions, we always provided to him as much as we know.
Right.
With all honesty.
And trying to work together.
We tried to make good councilman out of him and a good mayor out of him.
And it seems like something just changed.
Sometimes people change. I'm not going to say what changed them, and I'm not looking for a job from him, and I'm not looking for the $10,000. I I believe it or not, he's one of the people who asked me to be treasurer and voted for me to be treasurer because they want me to keep a track of all the paperwork, all the invoices at the treasurer department, and they trusted me to be the one. And I made so many enemies out of that job. For 4 months, and it was $76,000, job. And now it's 80 some thousand. If I wanted job, I would have ran for that job.
Right,
Probably I would have won. I don't know.
You never know.
But I didn't want a job from the city. And again, that's where we are. I would ask if he is transparent and if this city council are really responsible and transparent. Bring independent inspector to look at all the inspections and everything going on in the golf course and the banquet. So we make sure that we get in, our money's worth. We are not getting, jabbed and getting second-hand items.
To make sure.
To make sure the money done correctly according to the ordinance, and there is no shady permits or no shady construction inspections.
So you're asking
I do not,
building inspector.
and I'm going to tell this mayor and the public, I do not trust our building department. I do not trust them because I have more information from many citizens complaints about things done illegally, Mr. Mayor. And if you want, you can come to me and I'll take you by hand. And I done it before. And I was behind getting one of the directors out, if you remember. So
there's some shenanigans.
Shenanigans going on.
Building department.
Things happened during Paletko. I don't want it to continue now under his administration.
And I think
because if anything happened, this will reflect on the whole Arabic community first and on the whole city. Because he is the first Arab American mayor in the state of Michigan.
And that's an important honor and a responsibility.
He was
He has a
appointed.
responsibility.
He was appointed 6 months or 7 months before the mayor of Dearborn.
See him succeed.
I do. I swear to God, I want him. I want him to succeed. But the way things are going, that makes me want to be on the city council, and I will work my heart to be on the city council because I don't want kids to be on the city council. I want people responsible. I don't want people who say kudo, 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 kudo.
It's
No,
not just about
it's not about being on in the picture in front of the public.
Yeah.
It's that you read the packet, you do your you do
Yeah. You do your
diligence, you do your research, and you vote your conscience no matter what. You're going to upset somebody or please somebody.
Right.
If you have any more questions, please do.
Well, let me see. I would say well, do you think that there's any other individuals or groups that are potentially profiting from this? And you don't need to name them if you feel that that would be a conflict for
there
you.
are
But is it because there's a lot of money that the city is kind of spending on
there
different
is not
things?
there is not of real estate agents and business people. They want to be close to the mayor and they want to get, special treatment like the 4 o'clock line, which I heard about it in front of the building department that the real estate agents come with permits at the end of the night and they get stamped. Nobody looks if the permit's value is right or not. And I'm making this allegations publicly.
Just trying to get through.
Yeah, I'm making it publicly, and if anybody wants to confront me, they are welcome.
Yeah.
I am available.
I'm gonna go sit at 4 o'clock and
Okay.
see if that's true.
And the second thing is the police department.
Yeah, and that's a big concern of
The
mine.
police department, you have it, Mr. Mayor, the city is not the police department. You have 63,000 people to worry about. He goes to the, I supported him with reforming, and I still support him with reforming the police department, but with vision, with intelligence, not bullying some people to leave the police force and not illegally appointing people. Then he had to negotiate a contract with the police and give away so many things in order to uh,
Correct
to
that
dismiss
mistake.
to dismiss the lawsuits which they were brought against him when he dismissed Act 78 Commission, 3 of them, illegally. He didn't do his job to see the results of November 8, 1964, and see that the public of the resident, the voters of Dearborn Heights passed the Act 78 and adopted it.
Right.
He just didn't pay attention. He just wants to
He wants to kind of just change
Yeah.
things quickly so that
Quickly,
he can
but
get it done. But
right now we are 28 officers down.
And I think I heard
in-
it drops very quickly
It dropped
all the
in
time.
more.
Yeah.
Then he claims last week at the Arab American Museum interview that there are 6 people, excuse me, interested and they might be hired. That still keep us 22 people short. Where is the safety? And he goes and claim we are more efficient, more this, more that. Let me ask him what happened to the 350 pounds of marijuana which was confiscated and it was all over the basement. Did he go check what happened to it and who owns it? He did not. I sent them appeal. They denied my FOIA within 2 hours to know what happened in that case, and I sent them twice appeal. He never responded to me. And I'm not going to go to court because really
This harms the city.
it harms the kids, it harms the city, and this is coming from California. It's not coming from here.
Yeah.
So
They just
it's a federal offense because it crossed state lines.
with their
I want him.
the drug team, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he dismantled the SWAT team.
Right.
Every day we hear on TV crimes going on.
Mass shootings every
Mass
day.
shooting
At shopping
everywhere.
malls, there was the guy that drove into a crowd.
SWAT team should be in the city and they should patrol, the streets. And the drug enforcement should be there. He dismantled both of them. What's next? Are we going to allow marijuana dispensaries and we open?
Well, I won't get into that because I think we should, but because that's a source of income. But
It's not really. Let me tell you, the income to the city will not exceed $30,000 a year.
Per dispensary.
No, total.
No.
You will pay.
We can get into that another
Anyway.
time then. Because I had redone my research.
What else? Our parks.
Yeah.
Are we going to allocate money?
Yeah.
Senior citizens places,
We are putting some CDBG funds there, but we have so much money that we
frankly has been ignored for a long time. I want to use this $14 million in a wise way.
right.
Get the best for your money and listen to the people who know the city more than him.
Yeah.
He's been here just for short period. Some people have been active for 20, 30 years and lived in the city for a long time. Listen to them. Nobody wants to harm you. Nobody wants to, destroy your administration. But you making it look like there is something wrong. There is something shady.
Don't answer a question.
Talking about transparency, and you are the mayor, the people's mayor. Then listen to the people. Sit with the people. I don't want him to. I don't want him to sit with me because I care less for him to sit or not. I am proud of what I accomplished during the years. But all I want is my property value to be preserved.
Yeah.
I want my safety, my kids, my grandkids, my schools.
Yeah.
I want, I am lucky that my daughter got to Harvard.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of every kid.
We have so many great kids.
So many great kids.
So many great kids.
And I want it to be better and better and better.
Yeah.
And the city to work with the schools to make sure that our kids are safe, our roads are safe, and to hire more police officers. We have the best, one of the best in the state fire department.
Oh, I
We
love
have,
her so much.
and I thank him up and down because they saved my wife's life. It was a matter of minutes, and they responded during COVID, and they took her to the hospital, straight to the operation room, and I thank him
They're
every day. So we need.
But we need to do all that while spending our money.
Wise. The $3.2 million spent unwisely, unnecessary.
And how much could we have done
We
with
could
that?
have done a lot with it, and we could have, if we would have went with Davy, and we would have saved over $1 million in some dollars, and I can show them with numbers how this would happen. We have 5 years at 600,000 a year.
Right.
That comes to $3 million, and we would have opened